Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. I was super excited to be bringing you some games from IEM Toronto that took place very recently. In the bottom left hand corner is our blue Protoss player, it's MC. The top right hand corner is our red Terran player, it is going to be Katie Rolster's Flash. So never mind what those tags say, this is the one and only Flash. Now we haven't cast him before on the channel, which I gotta tell you is a little bit of an anomaly. Flash, for those of you who don't know, one of the most successful StarCraft players of all time, certainly one of the most successful Brood War players of all time. So almost $500,000 in prize money from Brood Wars alone, and really gunning for a big Premier League title here at IEM Toronto. So super excited to be casting Flash games, glad to see so many of them in the replay pack, and we'll see how he goes against the boss toss. Looks like we're going to have fairly standard openings out of both our players. MC obviously very well known for his aggressive play, particularly things like Blink Stalkers against Terran players. Of course, in the current seasons, the map pools do work a little bit against that sort of Blink play. They've really worked to minimise the frontage even of these large bases, ensure that Blink all-ins aren't quite as potent as they once were. And as a result, we've seen quite a resurgence of Terrans here in the latest seasons of StarCraft in the WCS. So excited to see how it plays out here. Flash been playing very well in this tournament, and always a great performer, but of late really struggling to try and consolidate his position in the heart of the swarm scene. We'll see if he's able to do so in this tournament. Now both players moving out with an early scout here. Of course MC's probe making his way across the map, going to spot what is a very standard opening here from Flash. We have the Reaper on his way for a follow-up scout. SCV going to be making its way across the map now. We'll see that this is in fact a gateway expand, I would expect, out of MC. Throwing down that cybernetics core and gateway before going for a nexus on the low ground. Now just a few housekeeping notes while we wait for this game to get underway. It has been some time since I've cast, and I apologise for that. There have been a crazy set of circumstances, everything from one of my nieces being born the other morning to weddings, funerals, all sorts of shenanigans, so really glad to be casting again. Sorry for the great delay. We have Probe and SCV duking it out already. Unfortunately, Flash going to have to pull back there, and MC should be able to throw down this nexus any moment, particularly with that Zealot. I imagine the Reaper is likewise trying to make his way inside the map. Actually going to be using that Reaper to scout around the perimeter of this map, so not a bad use of that Reaper from Flash. Obviously trying to ensure there's no proxy pylon shenanigans going on too early. Mothership Core is going to ensure he doesn't get too much info when he comes to scout the main base. And looks like MC is going to sneak in the pylon on the far left, so unfortunately for that Reaper, not getting the information he was desiring, and MC proceeding with the expand, though well and truly behind the expansion. Flash maybe throwing down that command center on the low ground, nice and bold, which is fairly safe behind this early Reaper. Reaper often will keep you safe from any form of aggression. Unfortunately for Flash, MC has gone for one of the more aggressive openings. This Stalker Zealot Mothership Core able to put on a lot of pressure, particularly if it arrives before the bunker's completed, though Flash clever positioning and use of this Reaper has forced MC to pull right back to his base. Doesn't want to lose any probes, particularly to that Reaper, so that's actually bought him the time he needs to actually get his defense established up at home. So not a bad use of the Reaper, has allowed him to safely take this position, and is going to force MC back in a much more defensive posture. So overall nice use of that Reaper from Flash. And we see what's continuing to be a rather standard opening from both these players. May well develop into quite a nice macro game here, as we see Flash already got 3 barracks on the way, so it's quite a unit heavy opening. Usually you'd see a factory coming up quite quickly. On the other hand, we see that Flash actually elected to drop quite a number of barracks, and this bio count continuing to grow quite rapidly. So a little bit of gas sitting there. Imagine a factory will follow quite soon. As you can see, things like a quick combat shield in this Marauder chewing up that gas. Lots of add-ons for the barracks, and it counts for a much more delayed factory out of our Terran player. On the other hand, MC going to be continuing to produce probes. We have a robotics facility on the way. Not not too surprising there. We generally see MC go for either a Robo or Twilight. Not often that we see MC throw down a Stargate, but it has been known to happen, that's for sure. Observer moving out, but Observer not really needed to see this terrifying group of Terran units moving out across the map. No pun intended there, sorry guys. This terrifying group of Terran units moving out across the map. There is enough energy for Photon Overcharge here, but there's still a considerably large army, and MC's in a little bit of a dangerous position in that Flash could probably afford to take a little bit of damage from that and try and reset the gateway unit count from MC. Looks like Flash will be falling back for the time being. Going to check whether or not there's a third base. Indeed, there is not yet. And a Terran player hasn't thrown down a third base either, so relatively even economically speaking. If we check out the income tab, we can see it's 37 harvesters apiece. Slight edge on that mule count for Flash, but MC going to be continuing to produce these Immortals non-stop, chrono boosting those out, and potential for quite an aggressive start from MC. And I gotta say, guys, are we really surprised? It is MC. Does love those early power plays, things like Sentry Immortal all-ins, very popular. Of course, this is a Terran matchup, so more likely to see him go for some sort of bust with these early Immortals. Third one not yet on the way, but armor is already on its way. More than halfway complete. We have +1 coming up for the Terran player. And Stimpack still about a minute off completion, so unlikely that we'll see a huge amount of aggression early on, but we can see this Marine scouting out. Unfortunately misses the pole and didn't quite fulfill his duty there. Fell shy, a little bit lazy, trying to save on those save on the mileage on those boots, but unfortunately misses that pylon, and we'll see if that plays any part later on in this game. But we can see that Flash moving out with this force once more. It is absolutely massive. Third CC going down in the main base as Flash decides to expand behind this aggression. We have quite a sizable Protoss force here, quite a few Zealots and Stalkers. Blink on the way, +1 weapons also coming out now. Warp Prism for some harass. Love this out of MC. Great way to really mess with Terran players that are parade pushing out across the map. Get that Warp Prism in their main base, really mess with their production. We'll see though if, oh, that poor Marine going down to blaze of glory there. Unfortunate job of trying to scout this Protoss force, and it is indeed terrifying. Plenty of sentries in the mix here. No Colossi on the way for MC, which is a little bit of a surprise. Instead, MC grabbing the Twilight Council so he can get his +2 upgrades in due course. Grabbing that Blink, which we know MC loves to utilise, and going in straight into the High Templar tech. Love that. Nice safe positioning here at the natural expansion. So we'll see if Flash actually produce any Vikings. Indeed, we do have one on the way, so we'll see if that plays a part here. If Flash overproduces those Vikings, will play quite a crucial role in the coming battle, as they will be very dead supply. Yet another Immortal on the way. It should take our count up to 3. Plenty of sentries to accompany this. And we have a Zealot here just scouting out Flash's force. Still building up here in the middle of the map. A few medevacs in position. This third command center staying put in the main base for the time being. Looks like he may move that out. Actually taking the more aggressive third base. I like this choice from Flash. It does create quite a few interesting phenomenons here. For example, when you take the third base here, it's very easy for forces from this pylon to be aggressive and harass your mineral line. Whereas this third base, it creates a rather short travel time between the main and third base. Long via land units, things like Vikings can shut down the Warp Prism over a relatively short distance. We'll see if it plays any part here, but I do like the decision. Most players will elect to take this third base, but obviously Flash wanting to be very aggressive, and this is quite reflective of that aggressive desire. Flash doesn't want to pull back to defend this third base location, instead wants to be able to pull back to the middle of the map and stage quite aggressive pushes towards the Protoss third base. Unfortunately for MC, unable to take that third base just yet. Still worried about this Terran force, which is getting incredibly large. 170 to supply to 130. Flash's macro just absolutely top notch. We'd expect nothing less. This drop going into the main base, we actually have a few Zealots coming in, making a break for us as Viking guns it down. Unfortunately for the Warp Prism, not going to be able to do a whole lot. 1 or 2 workers will go down here. Actually, it looks like a few more. So 6 workers gone down so far in the game. I think a few of those were from Zealot harass earlier on in the natural. few zealots making for this third base, interrupting the mining just a little bit, but these marauders will clean that up in short order. The Protoss force actually getting quite aggressive with that blink. Classic MC there, as he decides to utilize that to harass a few of these bio units. Really wants to trim those numbers. As you can see, it's a 40 supply differential between our Terran and Protoss play. MC really needs to buy the time to get out these higher levels of tech. We do have a few High Templar on the field, 2, so it's almost 2 storms each so far. 4 High Templar, sorry, 6 now warping in on those last 2. So you have potentially 4 storms in the next 20 or 30 seconds, can go up to 6 or even more storms. So hopefully there'll be enough to deter this massive Terran force. These medevacs actually in a little bit of danger here. The feedback energy is quite high there, so feedback from the High Templars could totally eliminate a number of those medevacs, make life very difficult with Flash. We see MC going to town here on the third base, and Flash being forced back in his natural expansion, so a little bit rare there. Pulling back, cleaning up a few of those zealots harassing. Unfortunately for Flash, still not identifying this pylon as the source of those problems. High Templar here almost being caught in the middle of the map. Nice force fields from MC. Going to throw down a few storms, but the body of this force still more than enough to deal with these zealots. Nice split out of Flash to ensure that he doesn't get stormed on those units as they stem. Actually picking off an observer as well. Nice little pick up there for Flash. He moves out with a doom drop into the main base of MC, and there are nothing here to defend this. No observer, there's no High Templar here to storm. It looks like these Widow Mines going to position themselves right in the main base of MC. Very dangerous, difficult for these units to actually defend. The Mothership Core actually goes down here. Looks like the Nexus may be picked off by these Marines and Marauders, and the lack of observers here for MC really going to hurt as all of these Widow Mines here continue to detonate on the Zealot, cleaning up a lot of these units. Nip over the natural expansion. Not very many units here left to do damage, but going to pick off that cannon, which is a nice pickup. Will open the avenue for further drops. Storm on top of these medevacs does kill one. Feedback on the second will pick it off as well. Unfortunately, the last medevac making its way out with a few units. Archon should snipe that medevac. It will go down as Flash barrels into the third base, met by quite an aggressive wall of zealots here. We see the 1-2 upgrades of Flash relative to the almost 2-2 of, sorry, the 1-2 of MC, pardon, to the what is about to be 2-2 of Flash. Surprised to see Flash fighting so aggressively with his main army when 2-2 is only seconds away from kicking in. About 15 seconds for that weapon, 30 odd seconds for the armor. Surprised that he's not waiting just a little bit. That medevac going to sacrifice itself to try and buy a bit of time for this Bioforce. Doing a lot of damage. If we check out the loss tab, almost dead even between these two players. Unfortunately for Flash, third base of MC up and mining now, so that is going to somewhat offset this main base which did fall. Unfortunately the Forge is going to finish that +2 weapons. Would have been nice if Flash could get the cancel on that, and second drop coming in the main base, so nice use of these medevacs from Flash, really harassing MC, pulling in between these bases. MC struggling to try and defend. Nice concave at the top of the ramp's going to greet these Immortals. One of them will be picked off. Another Widow Mine here, going to get another juicy shot off. No observers here, and doing a lot of damage to the shields. Looks like MC is going to push this back, but at a massive price. We see that unit differential starting to climb increasingly in Flash's favour. Nothing on the production line for MC at the moment, bar this one Immortal. These Widow Mines still sitting in the base. If we check out the units counting station, there are 4 observers on the field. Unfortunately, none of them in MC's base at the moment, as Flash Buyer really trying to do some work here. Low on health, but this between these Archon and the Stalkers will be enough to chase this off. But MC has to worry. The production of Flash is starting to get just a little bit insane. 4 Marines, 3 Marauders at a time. Ghost Academy is on the way to try and deny that, but MC with another Zealot run by is going to do a lot of damage in this natural expansion. There is no units here. A single Marauder, or a few units able to stream back in time to try and deter this. One Zealot still going to town the mineral line. We see that 24 workers have been killed by MC, so doing a lot of work with this harassment, but unfortunately not enough to break Flash's macro as he just continues to stream these units. Another drop into the main third base, a third drop into the production of MC, and if you're wondering why he's continuing to drop after the Nexus being killed, it's because these production structures so juicy, very expensive for MC to try and replace these on his limited economy, and Flash knows that he still has a lot of mileage off this third base. If he can put the pressure on MC and burn these units down, he knows that every unit, every structure, very expensive, very difficult for MC to replace at the moment. So really doing a great job of stretching. Some of the best play we've seen out of Flash in a long time as he goes toe to toe with MC here in this series. Been absolutely phenomenal between these players. If you're wondering, this is game 1 of the series, so there's plenty more to come after this. I will bounce around the tournament just a little bit as there are some great games I want to cover. Absolutely epic TvTs and even some PvZ in there, so we'll be casting a few of those. I know a little while ago on the channel it felt like Protoss versus Terran all day long. We have plenty of Zerg to mix it up with, so Terran fans out there are going to be happy as well. Obviously we have some big name Terran players in this tournament, naturally, with players like Tasia and Polt and Flash, so plenty of love for everyone coming up here on the channel. That Archon almost going down to the Widow Mine. Unfortunately, bad targeting on that final Widow Mine means they will survive. Should get picked off by these Marauders. Survive. It's always so painful to see an Archon survive with its shields completely removed. As you may or may not be aware of, Archons have very minimal health. It's entirely shield, 350 shield, something like 10 health. So those Archons, once you get those shields down, got to make the last ditch bit of effort to kill it. And oh, nice storm from MC. They're going to really force that army back. Unfortunately for MC, struggling to split these observers. Instead, all of them being crisis commanded with that army. As you can see him really struggling to try and deal with Flash. Nice storm's going to force that army back yet again. Clean up the Widow Mine as well, but got to worry, Flash dropping these Widow Mines in absolutely everywhere, making life quite difficult for MC. These Stalkers working absolutely overtime, 7, 8, 10 kills on these Stalkers. The usual MC mileage for a Stalker as he micros them like a boss, forcing this third base to lift off yet again, but this Terran force can swing in there, and now Ghosts involved as well, so EMPs are very real and ever-present danger here as we have units just in the middle of the map. Poor SCVs breaking away from this force, and Flash could well group those in for some devastating damage. There are Storm on the field, which is a massive deterrent. Looks like the natural expansion has in fact lifted off and is moving to the third base now that those minerals are mined out. Flash trying to keep his economy in tune. Third base has relocated to the main just for a moment. Probably wants to drop those mules at this third base location. Keep that economy stream. We have 3-3 finishing up for our Terran player. Dark Shrine on the way for MC. So MC reaching deep to try and equalize this series. Really wants to try and pull things back into his favour. Unfortunately, it does look like Flash has given him a little bit of a bruising so far, though. Flash, as we can see, struggling a little bit for supply, 120 supply to 170, and MC could well group up and march across the map for devastating damage. We have those Zealots being warped in for some harassment here. We have 4 Ghosts on the way, so a lot of danger for those High Templars. Most of the damage for this force comes from this Archon and those couple of High Templar that have been mixed in. MC finally going for his 4th base here as we have what is now the 4th base of Flash up and truly mining oversaturated 28 workers. Some of those are mules there. We see 5 mules working, ensuring that those minerals continue to flow in, and we can see just the crazy aggressive nature of this game. A few Zealots going down there trying to thin that worker count. The workers killed grows to 34 as we have a drop in the right hand side, trying to pick off a few High Templar, but the High Templar will save this fourth base location. Another drop in the main as these units actually going to unpower a few of these gateways. Oh no, more pylons on the other side will keep those gateways going strong, but these double prong drops from Flash really starting to annoy MC just a little bit. We see MC actually supply blocked 30 minutes into a game. Not all too common that we do see that. But Flash gearing up for yet another quite sizable push down the middle of the map. Actually outnumbered by supply-wise by 30 or 40 supply, but these Ghosts more than worth their weight in gold, or worth their supply in gold, I should say. Mothership core here, plenty of energy for photon overcharge, but these Dark Templar are starting to work their way out across the field. MC going to be splitting those quite nicely. I have one heading towards this third base, wanting to wait till the others are in position to use those. I think we'll see MC run them into the main base and do a bit of damage. Very limited energy for scans. We have no missile turrets on the field whatsoever, so these actually getting picked off in the main. So Nice scan from Flash there, going to deter that Dark Templar. Second scan will pick up the... Oh, I think that was actually an EMP which got the second Dark Templar. So very quick reactions from Flash, actually saving the scan, utilising this massive pool of ghost energy. This terrifying hit squad moves out across the map. And poor Widowmine probably won't get where he's intending. This MC trying to jockey for a good position, really doesn't want to be engaging uphill, racing for position. Those nice feedback on those ghosts, but beautiful EMPs land. It looks like Flash is going to be able to force these back. Immortals without shields, it's painful to see. Widowmine's burrowing on top of MC's army, and this might be it for MC as those detonate for drastic effect. The army of MC just melting away as Flash pushes through to what could be his first win in this series. Nice photon overcharge, going to provide a little bit of a disincentive for Flash here, but Flash plenty of units just needing to regroup and get his army in position. Reinforcements streaming across the field as this army barrels down on the 4th base MC. 4th Nexus will drop quite quickly. There is a Colossi finally on the field. I think this is our first Colossus in half an hour, but MC deciding no Vikings, it's time, baby. 2 Colossus now moving out. This is going to provide MC a lot of punch. So much of this bio is very low on health. A Storm or just one shot from this pair of Colossi will force them on a full-on retreat. We have Stalkers here, could potentially blink forward. Charge doing a lot of damage here as we see that Marauders being sliced and diced. There is a missile turret here going to be able to detect those Dark Templars, but there's bigger fish to fry. Mothership Core and Colossi both could fall prey to that. MC continuing to force these units back with storm after storm. These Colossi just very dangerous for Flash. Looks like the solo Viking being taken out by the Archon. We actually have a Dark Templar here going to town on the main army. Oh, EMP going to drop that Dark Templar almost immediately. For those of you who aren't aware of the mechanic at work there, when you EMP a unit, it does drop its shields, and as a result the Dark Templar becomes revealed. So nifty little trick there for those of you who aren't familiar. Also, the Infestor can be used similarly when you fungal the Dark Templar, it does reveal them. So for those of you Zerg and Terran players who are desperate for some reveal tech at these crucial moments of the game, there's a few things that you can tuck up your sleeve and use in clutch modes. Flash keeping himself alive with those. 4th base being re-established, and what an epic game between these two players. Back and forward, 30 minutes of non-stop action. These two have just gone tooth and nail. Poor High Templar going for some gutsy feedbacks and getting gunned down by our hero Marine out the front under the watchful eye of this observer. So their sacrifice was for ire and dutifully recorded by the observer. Big drop, well, not so much a big drop as a crucial drop here in the main as it picks off two High Templar. Those are very expensive units here when the economy is so pivotal between these two players. Defended by a Dark Templar and counter-attacked by these Archons. Archons and Colossi are going to provide so much damage, but not a lot here to actually tank for the Colossus. These Colossus will melt behind these 4 Colossi. There is a massive amount of damage. These Zealots and Archons going to do a lot of damage. Poor High Templar pathing around that structure. It will die instantly. This base forced to lift off for what seems like the upbeat time here. These Vikings going to town. There is a single Stalker, and it looks like Flash is going to tap out of game number 1. So MC taking a 1-0 lead in this series. Plenty more action to come. We won't be casting the next games from this series immediately. We are going to bounce around and cast some of the matchups for everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. If it's your first time on Aussie StarCraft, please subscribe. I'd love to see you here in the future. We've got plenty more sick StarCraft action coming out right after this, guys. So stay tuned. This is Aussie StarCraft. I'll catch you in the next cast.